Introductions with our engineering, Mike Trank, please.
Michael Trank, consulting engineer.
Mark LeMay, Selectman's Rep.
Dan Taylor, Commissioner.
Tim Redmond, Commissioner.
David Pierce, Commissioner.
Lynn Pooler, Sewer Secretary.
Keith Canton, Assistant Sewer Foreman.
Thank you everyone for being here tonight. Corey could not make it and he let me know earlier in the day, so Corey will not be attending tonight. First order of the bit of our agenda is always public comment, so if anyone's here for public comment, the floor is yours. It's time for you to step up to the microphone. There's no one else in the room, so I'll close the public comment. Minutes of August 8th, 2023.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
August 8th.
Motion's been made to approve the minutes as presented from August 8th by Dave.
I'll second the motion.
Seconded by Daniel. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? We have one abstention. Nothing under new business tonight. We did send out a letter to someone to come in and address us. Lynn, do you have any information on that?
Yes, he called me this afternoon. He didn't get the letter. It didn't make it over to his office until just yesterday, I want to say. But the person that he needs to speak with is out of state at the moment. He'll be back on, I think he said September 22nd. So he asked if I could send him a copy of the original contract, and I'm working with Corey on that. And I put him on the agenda for our meeting in October.
Thank you very much. Well done.
So,
Dave, go ahead.
the contract was that this agreement back in 1990?
Yes,
Yes.
yeah, yep.
If Corey gave it to me, so he should be able.
Okay, yeah, I spoke to him this afternoon. He said he's
Thank
gonna
you,
look
Lynn.
for it. You're welcome.
Now we have some old business to discuss tonight. Elm Street Pump Station improvements. Excuse me, update. I'll turn that over to Mike Trank.
Thank you. The contractor recently requested substantial completion of the project, so we scheduled a walkthrough inspection, which we had yesterday morning. Went through all of the items of construction, and everything looks good. It's running well, so we're giving them substantial completion as of Friday, September 8th. We do have a punch list that goes with that certificate. I think you all have a copy of the certificate of substantial completion, and there is a punch list attached to that. Some of the items are complete and they're noted as such, and then the remaining items will be completed within the next 30 days, at which point we should have final completion.
I'm just reading these punch list items.
Mm-hmm.
Has the second coat of asphalt been installed, Mike?
Yes.
So, aside from some door hardware and a socket, it's paperwork.
Primarily, yeah. Yeah, I mean, the electrical meter socket it's somewhat significant, but it doesn't materially affect the operation of the pump station.
The meter socket, that's on the exterior of the building for the Eversources?
Mhm.
And is that the new glass with the meter is not in it at this time? Is that what you're saying?
It's there. They're using the old one
Oh, they're using the old one.
temporarily.
So who has to do that? Eversource has to do that switch over for them?
No, all of their stuff's done. The electrical subcontractor.
So
has-
I'm not understanding the meter socket then. What is, describe exactly what the meter socket is then.
It's the electrical meter itself plugs into that.
Yeah,
And I think that the electrical subcontractor will do that rather than Eversource.
So it possibly is a different model of a socket than the
It's
one that
newer,
was
yeah. I mean,
always
the old
been
one,
there.
The old one's 1956.
Yeah, so
vintage.
Eversource has a new meter to plug in,
Yeah.
but they need the new
Right.
socket.
yeah,
Right.
because Eversource still has to come back because they put the They put the anti-theft device lock on the bottom of that, so you can't
Right,
take the
that's-
ring
Yeah,
off.
true.
So Eversource still has to come back and do that for
Yeah.
them after they install the new socket.
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
Because it sounds like it would all be done in the same day.
Yes.
So,
Yeah,
You know, I'm not gonna hold them to that because Eversource could be weeks before they get out there. They are not fast in this environment right now. They have
yeah, and that's
long,
why,
long lead times with Eversource.
yeah, and that's why it's a punch list item.
do we need a motion to accept this certificate of?
Do we have any
substantial-
questions on it from any other members of the commission before we take a motion?
Nope.
No? Okay, Dave?
Yes, motion to accept the substantial completion of work done by Sherburne Consolidated at our Elm Street plant
And you can authorize me to sign this, please?
and authorizing our chair to sign.
I'll second the motion.
Motion made to approve the certificate of substantial completion and the authority to sign it by the chair. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes. Mike, do I give this back to you at this point?
I brought two originals. So,
Oh, That's an original.
yeah.
Copies you want? So one copy will go to Lynn in the office?
I'll distribute it to everybody.
Okay, well, there's 2 pages you handed me
Yeah.
and the original. You want all 3 back? or-
Nope, just these pages.
Okay. I'll send this over to Lynn.
You can just throw that out, I've got a million copies.
Well, you don't have a signed copy, do you?
No, he's gonna send me the signed copy, he said.
Well, I signed
Oh,
that one.
is this a signed one?
I signed, that's the original.
Thank you,
and I
Mike.
signed it.
We're making progress on at least some plan.
Yeah, just continuing on, the substantial completion initiates a 1-year warranty period. And during that 1-year warranty period, you will continue to hold retainage. So the contractor will be submitting a payment requisition soon for the most recent work. And as part of that, the retainage that's being held right now will get reduced to 2% of the contract price. And that will be held for that 1-year warranty period to cover any items that might come up, plus, anything on the punch list.
And any problems that may arise.
Right.
So the next item under old business is, again, Mike, Albert Street sewer update. Mike?
Yes, I did send over the final design plans. Corey did have a chance to review those and had a few questions and comments. So I made revisions pursuant to his questions and his comments. It should be ready for bid at this point, but if there are any questions, I'll certainly entertain those.
So in your design, Mike, did you design repurposing the existing manholes or installing new manholes?
New manholes.
Okay. Just want to know what, because I think,
Except for Cross Street,
right, Cross would probably
that
stay.
would be existing,
Yeah.
tying into the existing line.
Well, the issue at Cross Street is there's a drop manhole there, and then it's an external drop, and Corey would rather not have an external drop manhole. So as part of this contract, we have an item in there to replace that existing manhole with a 5-foot diameter precast manhole that would have an internal drop installed in it.
Thank you.
Good point.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
'Cause the existing
I see it now, to be replaced.
Because the existing manhole is too small for an internal drop, it doesn't have
Yeah,
diameter?
it's 4-foot diameter, and typically, when you have an internal drop in a manhole, the minimum you want to have is 5-foot diameter in a manhole.
Yeah, 'cause you
to
still gotta have-
physical space.
You have access to the structure as
Yeah.
well as the shelf has to be built
Right.
properly to
Yes,
handle the internal drop. Okay.
right.
Okay. So at this time, Mike, you said this is ready for bid, in your opinion?
I think so.
And have you put together a list of prospective bidders that you'd like to see if anybody's interested in this?
I can. I have a bunch. We actually just opened bids, bid on a project in Allenstown today. And it's pretty much a mirror image of this project. It's replacement of about 470 feet of existing sewer line. They received one bid,
From whom?
CSSI.
Now, are we going to try to go after Bernice again, see if they're interested in coming back?
Certainly.
They were very good.
Yeah, in fact, I contacted them for the Allenstown project, but, and I thought they would bid it, but we didn't get anything.
All right, well, we'll hope for the best.
What do you anticipate would be the on-site work for this 480 feet? 2 weeks of time or 3?
Yeah, 2 to 3 weeks.
Minimum.
Thank you.
I think you should also make sure that our
That
contract,
doesn't include lead time, obviously, for materials.
yeah, I was
Getting
gonna say,
material.
we may want to also discuss in our contract the same things we talked about last time, that these contractors secure all their materials in advance of the project and
Yeah.
things like that.
Right.
Because we wouldn't want, I know this is a small run, I'm sure pipe is not a problem, but
Yeah.
you never know when.
We had supply problems on Lewis Street.
Yeah, well, he was supposed to have secured all his materials for that site, as I remember, right? Wasn't that contractually required?
I don't recall.
Okay. Well, a 400-foot run is not gonna be a problem for them to get sewer pipe.
I wouldn't think so.
What is it, 8? 8-inch, yeah,
8-inch.
SDR.
Standard.
Okay. Sounds good. Hopefully, hopefully our contractor from the last job is interested in bidding, because he did a good job on the last one.
Yeah. So you're agreeable to pushing that out to bid?
Aye. Commissioners?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I agree. We should try to get this out to bid
Yeah.
as soon as humanly possible.
Yeah.
Getting it out to bid also is because we can we don't encumber money at the sewer commission, we just put it back in our account. But it's nice to know that we have a source for the funding and we can plan for the next project,
Right.
which you're gonna start working on like next week.
Yep.
If
It's a joke, Mike.
If Mike has bids back, would you, Mr. Chair, would you consider a out-of-sequence session to accept the bid?
Oh, sure, we could have a special meeting.
Okay, so,
We could have a special meeting to
Yes.
consider bidding, sure.
because it's getting late in the system, and
Yeah.
I like to, if you have bids available,
Mhm.
don't be bashful, ask Linda.
Well, we have to have a
Talk to the
formal
chair.
bid opening.
Yes.
And once the bids are opened, then we could have a special meeting to award
Yeah.
based on your recommendations.
Yes.
Okay.
Good.
I had a question,
Go ahead, Daniel.
just a curiosity. For
Page,
house,
what page are you on, Daniel?
sheet 2,
Okay.
for house number 7, it's like right in the middle on the top of the page. Why does it have 3 laterals? Or appears to have 3 connections?
House number
That's at
7?
16.
There are 3 sewers.
From a videotape, perhaps they were
There are
laterals.
3 connections. There's 3 units in there.
Oh, it's a 3-unit building. Okay.
Yes.
Good. Good answer, Mike. I would not have expected to see a 3-unit building in that neighborhood. Okay, and then we have one at number 2. And next one up. Yeah. Yeah. Now, I don't know if the community meeting for the Louis Street project was valuable to the residents or not, but certainly, if we are ready to put this out to bid, maybe we should extend another invitation to any residents on this street, we can get a mailing list together to, I don't know, attend a sewer commission meeting or have a meeting down in Pinardville again like we did.
Yeah, I thought the Penardville meeting
Last
went
time?
well.
Well, I think it's just, people like being dealt with in an upfront fashion.
Yeah, well, most certainly.
So if the commissioners concur, I would encourage us to try to set up a meeting with the residents if they're interested enough to come, but at least present an opportunity for them to come so they can ask questions. And we don't have the problems we had on Louis Street with the right-of-way being crazy
Yep.
and trees and stone walls and things, but people generally sometimes have questions about what's going to happen and how are they going to be inconvenienced and different things like that. And Mike, this is a cut and patch project. We are not paving the whole street.
Trench width only.
Trench patches only.
Yes.
Good. Okay. Any other questions from
Nope.
our commissioners? Okay, thank you, Mike.
What are they digging, Tim? 8 feet wide? Do you know what the width? 8 feet wide?
I can tell you in a minute.
Probably, I think-
Generally 8, because you got to get the trench box in.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
But I'm looking at your cross-section here, you have inverts at, rim is 267, the invert's 261, so we're only 6 feet in the ground at the first structure.
Yeah,
Well, a little lower, because the structure's a little lower. I mean, you're gonna only go to the invert, because that's what we're replacing pipe.
Yep.
At the end of the run, the rim is 268, and the invert is 262, so we're only 4 feet deep at that end.
yep,
But replacing the manhole in the street, we are 260, almost 67 and 256, so that's fairly deep right there. It's about 10 or 11 feet in the ground, probably 12 by time they put stone under the
Yeah.
structure. So that's the only place where it's deep, Mark, on in Cross Street,
yep, that's fine.
because they have that drop there, existing external drop connection.
And like always, Tim, you'll make a cut in the asphalt and square it up.
Well, generally, the requirements, as I know them to be, is they cut the asphalt to do the work.
Okay.
Then they temporary patch it for construction times. And then in most cases, they're required to cut the asphalt 2 feet back onto the solid
Yeah,
gravel.
For
Well,
packing.
Well, because you don't want your gravel, your paved joint to be on the edge of the trench,
Correct.
because then you have settlement issues.
Yeah.
But at least when you have the paved joint outside of the excavated trench, it's a better paving job and it lasts longer.
Okay, thank you.
Cross Street hasn't been redone recently, has it, Mark?
No,
So we're not under a moratorium on that street?
not that I know of.
Okay, so that's a good thing to know.
Yep. If I remember correctly, it's a pretty bumpy street.
Okay. All right, any other questions from commissioners? Or from our staff, or selectmen's rep? Nope, good for them. Okay, what did I do with my agenda? I lost my agenda. Oh, there it is.
Continuing on with Albert Street,
Go ahead, please.
was it last week or the week before, did send over a draft contract for construction phase engineering services.
Okay, I saw it on my computer, I did not print it.
All right.
Do you have a copy with you?
I do.
Thank you, sir.
Mike, you can skip the boilerplate stuff unless you feel it's necessary to explain anything in here where you're stealing our second-born child after we sign it.
Sounds fair enough. I've basically set forth 3 basic tasks. Task 1 is bidding.
Give us page you're on,
I'm sorry. I'm actually looking at the first page of Appendix 1.
Appendix 1, which is like way back near the back.
Yes. Sorry about that.
Task 1, bidding assistance.
Yes. So that would include getting the bid advertisement out, contacting contractors. Lately, I've been contacting Construction Summary of New Hampshire. They're a listing agency, and some contractors go to them to see what's out for bid. And it would also include addressing any questions or requests for information or comments during the bidding period. Those have to be addressed by addendum. So if addenda were necessary, this would include preparing addenda and distributing those, assisting the bid opening and evaluating proposals and providing you with a recommendation for award of the contract.
On Appendix 1, first paragraph, you say 4-foot diameter concrete. I think you just said you're going to do 5-foot diameter?
Only for the manhole at Cross Street, for the
Okay,
drop
okay.
manhole. The other two manholes on Albert Street would be 4 foot. Any questions on?
Bidding assistance, does it end right there? No, it goes on to the next page.
Right, there's 2 more tasks. So task 2 is construction administration. Construction administration, as it implies, includes review of shop drawings and other types of submittals, addressing requests for information from the contractor, also putting the contract documents together, review and approval and processing of contractor payment requisitions, preparation and processing of any change orders, conducting the pre-construction meeting, attending periodic meetings with contractor and owner during construction. It's a short project, so you might have one meeting beyond the pre-construction meeting. Preparing a punch list.
Go back up one for inspection of completed work.
Oh, yeah, substantial completion. So at substantial completion, we would
Which
do a
is what we
walkthrough
just got done.
inspection, like we did yesterday for Elm Street Pump Station. And then prepare a punch list for any outstanding items of work. Prepare the certificate of substantial completion, similar to what you signed tonight for Elm Street. Same procedure for final completion of the project and preparation of the certificate of final completion. We generally get record drawing or record information from the contractor and review that and can incorporate it into our drawings, if you will. Preparation of the final balancing change order for the project based on the actual quantities installed. And then assistance.
Do
with
you,
acceptance.
I didn't see in here that you were going to review payment requests. Was that in there that I missed? Where did, where,
Review.
oh, what's up there, the third
Third
bullet?
bullet.
Yep, okay, my mistake. I was reading down as you were speaking.
Yeah, third bullet. So that's included.
Any questions about the construction administration from the commissioner? Nope, nope, no. Okay, Mike, construction observation?
Yeah, task 3 is construction observation, give you actual on-site observation work in progress. That would just be periodic. I know that you'll have Corey out there most likely, or Keith, I guess, one or the other, or both. But I can be available for, to go out to the site to inspect things or deal with any issues that might come up.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty straightforward. Any questions?
We see the shall consult, not responsible, we know all that. Where does the authority to act on behalf of the owner start and end for you, Mike? Number 5, engineer shall.
Essentially, under contract to you folks, I would be a designated representative for you for
Okay,
the purposes of the construction.
okay. Okay, questions about the third task from commissioners? Okay, we see your total compensation.
Yes.
Effort to... Do we anticipate hitting, there's no drainage on that street, is there?
No.
Boy, we're lucky on that one.
There is water, there's no drainage.
No, so we have to deal with the water department, Manchester Water Works.
Yes. No gas that I'm aware of.
Nope, we haven't hit that part of the neighborhood yet, as far as I know. We tried once already, but
Yeah,
didn't
the
work.
water's kind of funky out there,
Yep.
as you can see on the drawings.
Okay, commissioners? Do we have any questions or changes for the proposed agreement between the engineer and the Commission for Professional Services? I have none.
No.
Motion.
Okay, go ahead.
Motion to enter into an agreement for construction phase engineering services with M.A. Trank, professional engineer, for the value of $13,180.
Seconded?
I'll second the motion.
Second the motion. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? I don't think you vote, Mark, on
No,
that.
he doesn't.
Yeah.
I don't know,
It's
just
nice that
remind
you
him.
chimed in, but I don't think you vote on it. So the motion passes. So Mike, could you prepare a, in your hand document?
He's
He's
ahead of
ready.
schedule.
You guys ready to rock and roll?
We try to be efficient.
Mike, do I have this contract that you guys were just going over? Did you email that to me? I
Yes.
missed that one,
I sent it to you, the commissioners, copied Corey.
okay. Okay, I missed that one, I'll go print it out. Unless Mark's not gonna use his, and I can steal
There's
it.
2 originals
More than
here.
welcome to it.
Today's the 12th, right?
Yep.
You can have one of these originals.
No, thank
There's
you.
2.
I was just gonna put
Is
it,
that what you just went over though?
I was gonna put it in Jim's box after, but you're more than welcome
I'll
to it.
steal it on my way out, thank you.
$13,180, that's almost to the dollar what I paid for the rail trail project this summer.
Really? Wow.
Thank you. Oh, is that what they just went over? No.
Okay. Mike, you're on a roll tonight, so if we are completed with Albert Street to your satisfaction, we can move on to the next one. Do you have anything else for us on Albert Street?
I have nothing further. No.
Okay. So East Union Street and Riverview Park pump stations update. I don't know if you have one, but Lynn generally writes these on the agenda for
Yeah,
us.
just. Nothing?
Yes.
Yes, nothing, or yes, you have something?
Yes, I have something.
Please, proceed.
That project is currently out for bid, public bidding for construction. I did bring a copy of the current plan holders list. I thought that would be of interest.
Thank you.
There is interest in it, so that's the good news.
Okay, good, thank you.
I don't know how many people will actually submit bids.
Sherban, there's the first one.
Thank you.
Guilford PBR, Guilford. Well, construction summary is, they don't bid on it, right? You put construction summary on there, they're not a bidder per se.
No, they are a plan holder, but they're a listing agency. They're not a bidder.
Monkey Stars Mechanic, we know them. Okay,
So this, maybe I haven't been paying attention. We're intending to have a single contract for both
Both projects?
both efforts.
Yeah.
I think that's what was discussed at the prior meeting.
Yeah.
I didn't know that until the last meeting, actually.
For both pump stations.
Yeah, we talked about it at the prior meeting, and I
Yeah, it'll
didn't.
be one contract.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, so
And the pre-bid meeting is tomorrow,
I've read that in the email.
tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. And bids are actually due on Thursday, September 21st.
And that is at the East Union Pump Station you're having the pre-bid?
Yes.
Or the,
Yeah, we're gonna start at the East Union Pump Station. And then after we're done there, we'll go over to Riverview.
so the plan holders haven't really visited the sites at this point? They're gonna this is when they do their
Not
site
that I'm
visits?
aware of.
Okay. Is Corey gonna make himself available, or is he gonna be tied up, do you know?
He'll be available.
He'll be available? Good. Thank you, Keith.
Mark, the scope of the work, East Union is roof work,
Oh, is it? Okay.
And masonry construction.
and a little touching up some masonry on the walls.
Oh, that's good.
The Riverview Park is a complete new structure.
Oh, really? Down there? Okay.
The existing structure is a
Fiberglass.
fiberglass, and it's leaking badly,
Yep.
cracking.
Has been leaking for a long time.
We're anticipating a drop-in place concrete
I
structure.
was gonna say, would that be done this year as well? Okay. Very
You
good.
know, something built in a plant and just
Yeah.
lowered.
Bring it over,
Yeah.
drop it in place.
All right.
Well, you
um,
can award the contract this year. The lead time on the building is 20 weeks right now. So
So that puts it
it'll
in,
definitely go into next year.
be a spring start. Be nice to award the
Well,
contract.
you can actually award the contract, and that would enable the contractor to order all the building
everything.
materials and stuff.
Good. Anything else for Mike? Our last items do not include your input, Mike, unless you want to stay for the sewer foreman job description or the budget. They're both sort of mundane from your point of view, and if you felt inclined to depart, we wouldn't hold it against you, but you're welcome to stay.
Oh, thank you.
So, the next item on the agenda is the sewer foreman job description.
That's pretty much what you already looked at with the bullet items added that Dave wanted added onto it. Danielle hasn't looked at it yet, she's been really busy with other stuff at the moment, but I just thought I'd give it to you to take a look at it, and I wouldn't vote on anything yet.
And she mentioned I had 3 or 4 items to add, and those were coordinated with Corey.
Were they added in here?
Yes.
Yes.
And tell us what they were added in so we know which ones they were.
You would have to call me on that.
Of course I would, because I don't want you slipping anything in there that we don't know about. So when you can identify the items you added, I'd appreciate it.
Definitely the last 3. Oh, on page
Page 1.
1,
So the coordinate with,
the coordinate with Mike
yeah,
Trank to annually do the CMOM
CMOM,
report for the Department of Environmental Services, to plan how we're cleaning the entire collection system. Yes, I remember the video plan, develop an annual plan for video inspection. I think those were the 4.
I would ask you, do you think that an annual plan for video is worth the expense? Because it seems like an awful expense to do annually, especially the entire collector system. Develop a plan is one thing, implementing it is another.
I was anticipating the annual plan would be what portion of the system should be videotaped
Okay.
that particular year.
Good, well, as long as you've narrowed it down to that, I
Yep.
concur.
Yes. And Keith, you can express that to him, you know.
Yep.
I don't think we have the budget to video, all the lines in our town
Yeah.
under our purview. It's very expensive.
It's same as cleaning the sand out of our catch basins.
We also know that we encouraged Mike Walton to come back with a price to have our own video camera, which he never did. So at some point, we may want to revisit the issue of a video camera and possibly budget to purchase a video camera for the department, which would allow him to videotape anything he wants, anytime he wants, at his convenience, rather than waiting for a contractor. He's been borrowing a camera from a good-hearted contractor in town who has been letting us use it, so I wanted to get away from that, to be honest with you. So, okay,
Mr. Chairman,
yes, sir?
I just wanted to throw my 2 cents in that relative to the inspection of the sewers by TV, the program has been just to do some section, not the whole system, just some portion of the collection system each year. And with the intent that eventually it would get to the entire system over some number of years.
And then roll back over and start over again?
Yes,
So what you're doing is you're keeping a current log of your video as opposed to
correct.
an archived log of your video, which
Yeah.
I think Corey goes to a lot right now. He
Yes.
goes to the archives.
Yes,
Okay, good.
just thought I'd throw that in.
So did you say you're not recommending a vote on this tonight?
No,
Lynn?
not yet, because I want Danielle to look at it and
Okay.
all that before we actually
All right,
vote
we'll
on
let
it.
Danielle give her 2 cents. And
Yeah.
okay, we're now to the budget for '24. Lynn, I'll turn the floor over to you.
All right, so I updated the year-to-date expenses through August. And I got rid of a lot of the notes that were confusing you last time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike, for
Good night.
coming tonight.
So, let's see, if you want to start at the top with sewer admin, which is the 326-0000, you can skip all the way down to employee development, because finance budgets all the benefits and salaries.
Everything from benefits above comes
Right.
from finance.
Right.
So employee development.
So, last year we spent almost $300. We budgeted $750 for this year, and we have only spent $25 so far.
We were anticipating with a new employee, we're going to be using some of that budget.
Yeah, and I don't know, Corey, he had said last year that he's required to take a class on O&M collection system. It's $250 per employee. I don't know if they're going to that this year or not. I don't know, do we want to put in budget numbers now, or do we want to wait until next week when Corey's here? What do you want to do?
I would prefer to let Corey advise us additionally.
Okay,
We can make notes today and have
Okay.
discussions, but I think I'd like to wait for Corey's
okay,
final input.
that's fine.
Thank you.
Um,
Commissioners, any? I think $750 a year for 3 employees for employee development is a low number right now. We were only using 2 employees for $750 a year. So that works out to almost $400 per person. So I think that we should be thinking of increasing that to accommodate the 3rd employee. Or did we already do that, Dave, when the other?
Let me, hold on, let me look
I
at it. don't know
I
last
concur,
month's.
the value has to, the line item has to remain, you know.
Yeah, so we did,
725 essentially is a placeholder.
Yes.
If it, in the course of the year, it turns out to be 1,200, we're not gonna worry about it.
Right. we-
750 is 3 employees.
Okay, so that's.
We
so
did 250 per an employee.
Okay, thank you, Lynn, for that. But $250 per employee only allows Corey to go to the this collection system
Well, I
class.
think, no, I don't think the collection system is 250. That 250 is saying 250 per employee is what we budgeted. I don't know how much the collection class is.
Well, we'll have to get a little more information on that. Because if we only budgeted $250 per person and one class is $250, that's not good budgeting. Okay, we'll move down to the next line, Lynn.
Auditing service, they do that in finance as well.
Okay,
Legal service, we didn't spend any last year. We budgeted 5,000. That's pretty much what we've been budgeting, in case we need, we need to contact legal. We haven't used them this year.
okay. Banking services,
That's finance.
okay.
Office supplies, we've only spent $181 so far.
Have you bought envelopes or anything lately for your mailings?
Not yet. We haven't used as many anymore because we have the sealed sewer bills now, so I'm not sending out a
So you're
lot
not
of-
buying envelopes
I'm not
anymore?
buying as many as I used to, no.
All right. So
Corey
we'll-
recommended that we should raise the budget of that there's now 2 employees with 2 offices in the building, and there wasn't before. So there
Right.
might be an addition of future costs in the building.
All right, so let's make sure we get Corey's info on that one.
That might be a hard sell with the budget committee where we haven't spent anything.
Budget committee always looks at what we spent and what we budgeted.
Yep.
And if we budgeted a lot and we didn't spend it, they want to know why'd you budget so much and why didn't you spend it, so.
Yep.
Not that we should just throw money away, we just have to be smart about our budgeting, that's all. So we'll talk to Corey about that. Postage, well, that's a, we
Yeah,
don't know
that's-
about that.
Yeah, that's pretty much right on, actually.
Computers and communications,
I'm just gonna, Mr. Chair, I'm just gonna back up. You know,
Go
it's
ahead.
quite possible that the $3,000 spent in '22, we effectively might have bought a 2-year supply, you know, so.
are we on office supplies?
Yes, back
Okay.
up.
Well, we were
Oh,
also buying a lot of envelopes back then. We were doing regular envelopes, plus we were doing return envelopes for people to
Pay their bill.
pay the bill. Plus, that includes, and I didn't order any this year, the actual check stock. I've got plenty of that right now on hand.
All right.
Um,
Any more discussion on office supplies? Move down to postage.
That's. all
That's,
set.
that's a number that's cut in stone because we have X amount of customers and you have to have so many.
Yeah, pretty much, it's the mailings.
Okay. Computers and communication, Lynn?
That is Brian, that's something that Brian budgets for us for the most part.
Well, it's got to do with some of our licensing, right?
Yeah, it's the software licensing and the computers that we have and all that stuff.
That input came from Brian.
Yeah,
Thank you.
and the budget will come from Brian too.
We have no debt service, but we left $1 in the budget to keep the line open.
Mhm. And again,
Interest, the same thing, $1.
property insurance, again, that's budgeted by finance as well.
Okay.
So top one's pretty easy. And then the next section, which is sewer
Goes
operations,
down
Go all
to,
the
starts
way-
with clothing,
you got it.
44,150.
I'm assuming you guys have spent almost half of the budget so far. Do you still need to order winter wear?
Yes, I need to order like boots, pants.
Okay.
Corey made a note that you'd like to increase the budget to 1,000 per person.
Well, we have to look at those numbers too, because we have to itemize the purchases, you know.
Yeah.
We have to figure out, the boot is a $250 allowance or whatever the allowance we've been using. Clothing and uniforms, we have to budget for the uniform service itself and figure what that number's gonna be. And then we will add in an allowance for winter coats and things like that, so.
Are either one of you, are you still getting uniforms?
We're not taking uniforms from like
Syntax?
Syntez, no.
Oh, because that was one of the things that Daniel
Yeah,
wanted to
where
have
I've
auto
gotta,
pay
I've
on.
gotta look at that and see if we're still getting charged, cause.
So you're not getting Cintas uniforms anymore?
No.
Okay. So ask Corey to come in, when you speak, ask him in with an itemized list for his $1,000 per man request.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, we might have to have they haven't really started budget yet, but our next meeting's not till October, and we usually want things done by then, so we'll have to see. Consulting,
Have we been given a date to go in front of the
I
budget
haven't been
committee?
given anything. They haven't opened this.
Have they even started the budget committee?
I
yet?
Yeah,
don't think so.
budget committee now is doing their tours, firehouses and public buildings, and after that, they're gonna start. Let me turn my phone on and I'll tell you, I got the dates.
You don't have to give us the dates, Mark. Are they gonna wanna tour the wastewater facility?
No.
I
Tell
don't
them to bring
think
their nose plugs.
I don't think so.
Okay,
Especially we're an enterprise
that's
activity.
right. Yeah, but we still are looked at.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything regarding the budget yet this
No,
year.
Okay.
Still, as I'll say, work in progress.
Yeah.
Okay, consulting services, we budgeted 45 in '23. We spent 26 already. We just spent another 13 tonight. So we're up to 39. We're getting close. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. You have a $45,000 budget.
We can, if we go into the red on that line, we can move from other lines.
Yeah,
but
we'll keep-
it'll be our benchmark for future budgeting.
Right, we'll keep looking at,
Okay, well, we're doing good on that one as far as I'm concerned. And contracted services, VACons, has Corey let you know if we have, Belmore lined up yet to start cleaning lines? Has he spoken to you about that at all?
We're actually waiting for them to get back to us on going back to clean Holly Street one final time after.
Well, we generally clean like a percentage of all the lines in
Yeah.
town
I'm
annually.
sure he has reached out to them, and they haven't got back to us.
Can you,
Mr. Chair,
Yes,
about
sir.
a month ago, they were on Rochambeau Street. They were doing, Belmore was in the neighborhood. And I know that firsthand, I watched them.
yeah, but they haven't done any, what he's talking about is, like what the VACCON used to do.
The annual maintenance we
The
do.
annual jetting, or whatever it's called,
I apologize.
And Belmore is a state bid contractor, so we don't have to get other bids because he is the state bid contractor.
yeah. So, yeah, it doesn't look like they've done anything.
Okay.
The only thing Belmore's done is extract debris on Holly Street. They did some jetting on Cross Street and Depot Street.
Yeah.
They must have been clogs then.
We were on standby while they were doing repairs on Holly Street,
Okay,
so we just put the truck to use.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
good.
that's about all they've done, though.
good.
Okay.
Next line is diesel fuel, which goes into the Ford pickup we have.
You know, I think these trucks are reversed now. Is that your truck now or Corey's?
Yes, Corey drives
Yeah,
the
it's
Dodge.
Corey's
Okay,
driving
so
the
this
Dodge.
is now your truck. And Corey's got the Dodge, okay.
Which is really irrelevant because we don't really care who drives them.
Well, I'm just curious so I know which truck it is.
You could put fuel for the Ford and fuel for the Dodge if you want. You
So
don't
the
have to-
Ford is diesel?
I would take the guy's names
I
off the
will,
list.
okay. So the diesel fuel is the
For the Ford.
Ford?
And I'll have Corey supply you with the year and model number.
Okay.
If it's a 2006 F-350 or F-450, I'll have him give you that information so
Okay.
you can itemize them better that
Okay,
way.
thank you.
Fleet maintenance,
This was left over from last year. We had encumbered it and it was paid. I think that was a problem that he had with the truck last year, all that work.
oh, when he got the Ford fixed.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
But we're not budgeting any money for fleet maintenance?
Well, we haven't done the budget yet. That's just,
Last year was
last year we didn't
$71.99.
budget, right, because it was
Okay.
encumbered.
Okay.
I mean, we'll have to see what you want to budget this year.
And equipment maintenance for $10,000, we've only spent $141, that's great, repairs for the trucks. This year's CIP,
I haven't seen any charges for any of that. We haven't,
well, CIP for this year is the Albert Street
right, we
project.
haven't done anything,
haven't
so
done it
that's
yet.
why, right,
Last year's CIP was for Louis Street.
right.
Actually, it was 2 years, if you remember right,
Yeah, it was,
because we carried the money over from the prior year.
yeah. So I'll get that CIP number and put that in for the next meeting.
VACCON expenses, we don't actually have VACCON expenses anymore because we don't use the DPW's VACCON. But we keep the line open for what's necessary. How are we, for the Manchester O&M, they usually send you a big bill right at the end, don't they, Lynn?
Yeah, I'll look through all what's due then. It's different projects that they send at the end of the year. I'll add those up and figure out what the end of the year will be.
And sometimes they're late with getting us that, so we always gotta try to
Yeah.
stay on them. Okay, that was sewer operations. Now, contracted services, it says right what it is.
Yep,
Everything can see what's on there.
we haven't really spent much there yet. Operating supplies, that one, we're gonna have to offset that with some of the stuff, but the reason that one is so large is they purchased the trailer, which was $4,600. They purchased a weed whacker, which was $1,000, and the lawnmower was $4,200. So that's almost 10,000 right there, which is what we're pretty much
Well,
over budget.
could that
by.
be charged to a different line, or is that the line it needs to be charged
Well,
to?
that's the line, but we can offset that with
Right.
other things. I mean, I'll make sure everything,
Well,
evens out, but that's where it belongs.
okay. Because we removed a contract service and we purchased our own, so,
Right.
if we have a balance on our contract services, we can shift it over to that because we eliminated the lawn service, which was a contract service.
Yeah.
Electricity, we can't do anything about. Propane, we can't do anything about. Water, we can't do anything about. Phone bills, we can't do anything
Well, I
about.
looked at what that is and the reason we're over budget there and what's so high, so we don't wanna have to, next year when we're budgeting, we wanna look at that, is we charge, there's almost $4,000 in charges for the First Light fiber, for all the fiber and everything going into the, I think it's the
East Union.
East Union
Yeah.
pump station.
So that was like a one-time expense?
Yeah,
The networking and everything.
yeah, so it's when we're looking at next year's budget.
That was part of the Elm Street pump station upgrade?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. And we were responsible to pay for that, not the contractor.
Right. Yeah, that's everything Brian pretty much had done for us through IT.
Okay, make a note in the margin on that, Lynn, for next,
Okay.
that's IT require,
IT fiber.
One-time expense, fiber and
Fiber.
Yeah,
service.
because we moved our employees over there.
Time, Expense, and it was about 10,000.
and that was at which, that was at the,
$4,000.
that was at the East Union pump station, or is that for the Elm Street pump station?
Yeah,
East Union.
Yes,
It was
East
for the
Union, where their
office.
offices.
East Union,
Yeah.
okay.
Yes.
okay.
That was in order to facilitate setting up their office.
Right,
Yeah.
right, so you won't have those charges next year, they're like a one-time charge.
Hazardous materials, $1 keeps the line open. Wet well maintenance, they schedule every year to pump the wet well and wash it.
We haven't really spent much the last few years, we only spent $90 last year. I don't know if that's something he has to schedule, or if he doesn't have to do it all the time.
Well, they may have done it as part of the Sherbon project when they redid all those pumps in there. So we'll have to talk with Corey about whether they did it this year or not. But it is an expense you need to leave in there
Oh,
because
absolutely,
we're supposed to clean the wet wells once a year.
Yeah, because last year they only spent $90, and that $90 was for a key for the wet well door.
Okay.
Solid waste disposal, just $1.
Is that a service like we would purchase from Belmore or?
Yes, actually, I think they use St. Ange Septic. They come and they pump the
Okay.
wet well down, then they can wash down everything and it fills itself back up
Yeah,
after they've
sure.
cleansed everything. Chemicals for the wet well, we can't do diesel fuel, that's for the backup generator. We don't use it, it didn't go on at the pump station at East Union, but we still have to maintain a budget so if the generator goes on and the diesel fuel gets run down, we gotta be able to refill it.
Correct.
So that stays. Pump repairs, equipment repairs, here we go.
We haven't,
We had 100,000, and we've only spent 28.98. So we're gonna have to work on that.
yeah, and we
Number.
only spent 13,000 last year.
Right, we're going to have to work on that number.
So there you go, there's some of the money that you need to offset your operating supplies.
Yeah, we can use it for that, but we also need to lower that number
Right,
for the, because we still can go into our
Reserve.
trustee money and get money if we needed something in an emergency. Pump station upgrade. Go ahead, Dave. You wanna-
Backing up, yes, I concur that the repairs or upgrades or something that we can budget a modest amount, but the risk needs to be covered by our reserve fund.
You know, and we can explain to the committee that we only established the reserve fund at the request of the finance director. And in the past, they used to build large budgets without any way to get money on short notice. So this is how we can build a smaller budget, because we have funds available by way of the trustees. But you gotta remember, the trustees only meet, Mark, twice a year?
I was gonna say quarterly or twice a year.
So we're gonna have to get some information on the trustees' schedule Lynn, could you ask the finance director about that, please? If we did need to go to the trustees, what is the, the timeframe to get money?
I remember this wasn't a problem. I can't remember the answer, but I remember we asked this
Could you just
before, and they
reaffirm
were
for
right,
us,
yeah.
please, with the finance? I don't wanna paint myself into a corner.
No, I know that's not a problem, but I can't remember the answer. I'll ask her.
We have new trustees now, right? Fred Platt replaced who?
don't follow that.
Tucker, maybe? Bill
Could be,
Tucker?
could
Bill
be.
Tucker still on? Okay, the last one down is pump station upgrade. Is this the Sherbon project we're on right now?
Mhm.
Right, so we're whittling our way down to a $71,000 available budget. I don't know what our final request is gonna be. We'll see where we are with that.
Okay, and that's
Okay.
it.
Questions, anybody? Mark your sheets up if you want to, mark them up, bring them back, because we're going to have to make a decision, I think, at our next meeting in order to come up with a
I'll
final
take that
number
before.
to give,
Oh, he has his own copy?
finance for preparation for the budget committee.
The decision on this in October.
I would hope that we could come to a consensus. Is there any other business from Keith or commissioners that we have not discussed tonight that would like to be discussed?
Back on budget.
Okay, back on budget.
This is expenses, but we also have revenue as part of the budget.
Yes.
I would like to be on the agenda for the October meeting with a discussion on fees that we charge our customers.
Okay,
So, put agenda
And
item.
that would impact our revenue.
because you've already made the point that we need to do something or we're gonna run out of money. And your point is well taken.
You've been a SOAR customer for many years.
Yes, I have.
I think you will remember that you're paying $400 a year for probably forever.
Long time.
Yeah.
What's happening, Mark, is that the administered a study that proves that if we continue to pull money out of the budget and the reserve funds to meet the new construction costs, we have a time window of 8 years.
I suspect if we don't change our fees, our reserve fund is going to go empty in 7 years. So
The costs have gone up.
the money that would have disappeared under this scenario
Yep,
in the
yep.
next 7 years somehow has to now trickle in.
We have to make an adjustment to accommodate for the, well, it's inflation, it's cost of living, it's everything. We haven't changed anything.
So the decision that we'll have to make is, how do we introduce this fee change to our customers? Is it a huge impact in the first year, or is it several years of more modest increases?
Just knowing what I know, I would gradually do increment increases every year to try to come as close as we can.
We do know that our neighboring communities have seen whopping increases,
Oh,
like
really?
Manchester. We have the data for that, and it's like, I think it was 9% every year for the next 6 years.
Whew.
So it's
Wow.
like 56% increase. 6 nines is 50. Is that my math still right?
Good.
So it's huge increases for a lot of other neighboring communities.
Yep.
Keith, do you have anything for us tonight, my friend?
No.
Okay, thank you for attending.
Thank you.
Anything else, Lynn?
That's it.
Daniel?
Park Place, the development by the Shell station.
Yes?
I mentioned the slab connections at the end of last meeting.
Yes?
They sent over new details that show they're gonna use, or they plan to use the threaded bolt connection that I showed
I
you.
saw that email.
That's all.
Okay, good.
Yeah, the bolts go down into a slot that's
Yep.
at the edge of both slabs and slabs.
Similar to the way they bolt box bolts.
Exact same.
So the planning board will be reviewing that this 2 nights from now.
Maybe not the deck so much, but the project will be reviewed.
Yeah.
the nuts and bolts of the slabs is gonna stay with it, probably with this commission, because we're the ones that are, we can give them information on it, but I think we've reviewed it, and we have our engineer review it, which the planning board doesn't have the availability of having an engineer review it, so we can make recommendations to them from our perspective. Okay, Dave,
Mr. Chair, motion to adjourn.
Daniel,
Second.
motion's been made to adjourn, it's been seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, motion passes. Thank you, GTV.